Good evening, everybody. Please be seated. Yeah. So, welcome to the meeting of full council this evening. I am the Mayor of Rugby, Councillor Simon Ward, and will be chairing the meeting. This meeting is being web streamed to the public through the council's YouTube channel. During the meeting, if you wish to speak, please use the push to talk button on the microphone in front of you. Before we begin the formal agenda, I will ask the Deputy Chief Executive to provide details of the evacuation procedure for those present.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, councillors. There is no fire drill scheduled in the building this evening. If the fire alarm does sound, then please make your way out of the building, down the main staircase, out of the main doors of the town hall, and congregate at the entrance to Caldecott Park. An officer of the council will give instructions on when it is safe to return to the building.
Thank you. Are there any apologies, Deputy Chief Exec?
Mr. Mayor, we have apologies from Councillors Claire Edwards, Councillor Mackenzie, Councillor Sayani, Councillor Slinger, Councillor Picker and Councillor Willis.
Councillor Poole.
Mr. Mayor, Councillor Parker and Councillor Keeling. I've just been informed. Thank you.
Dale Keeling.
Dale Keeling.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So, next item on the agenda, to approve the minutes of Council held the 25th of September 2024. I move that the minutes of the meeting of Council held on the 25th of September 2024 be approved and adopted. Who will second the motion?
I'll second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Those in favour, please show. The motion is carried. So, item number 3, declarations of interest. Can I remind members that when they declare interest, they must also declare the general nature of that interest? Are there any declarations under non-pecuniary interests as defined by the Council's Code of Conduct for councillors? No? Any pecuniary interests as defined by the Council's Code of Conduct for councillors? No. Notice under Section 106, Local Government Finance Act 1992, non-payment of community charge or council tax? No. Okay, so on to item number 4, Mayor's announcements. So firstly, this is within my my mayoral theme of youth as well. So I've had a number of school visits. So firstly, I attended Bilton High School with Olympian Lauren Henry, and we spoke to all the students there, which was around 1,200 students over 6 different assemblies. I went with Kimberly Woods to her former school, St Mary's Catholic Primary, where we met years 3 to 6. Kimberly mentioned that the school hadn't really changed much, although it must have been quite strange for her going back as an Olympic champion to where her dreams and aspirations had first started. The children at both schools were just in awe, as I am, of them both, at their achievements, and were full of questions for them. I also visited Clifton upon Dunsmore Primary School recently. On this, I was only supposed to be there for an hour or so, but I ended up being over 3 hours. And for those that know the school, it's only a small primary school, but the children were just full of questions, and which was lovely. And a special mention to the head boy and girl and the deputy head boy and girl who showed me round. They were full of enthusiasm for their school and very knowledgeable. So on to our visits into the town hall, including here in the chamber and the mayor's parlour. So firstly, Woolston St Margaret's Primary School, their council of years 3 to 6. So they wrote to me with concerns earlier this year about the flooding that had happened. So I invited them in to have a debate and to ask questions and to give them a voice, essentially. They were brilliant. They even did lots of research beforehand. They spoke to local residents and local businesses to get a bit of an insight. So they came in armed with questions. So the Deputy Chief Exec, Dan Green, was there, and Chief Officer David Burrows, and fellow councillors Derek Poole and Tim Willis. And I'm sure they'll all agree that the children didn't hold back with their questions. They certainly didn't, but it was good, giving them a voice. And what was really good was they showed a really good understanding of climate change and some of the issues that we face as a society now and in the future. And I also had another school that wrote into me a little while ago, which was Abbott's Farm Primary School. So this was, at the time it was year 3, now year 4 because of the summer holidays. But for those that have seen the children's film Cloudy with Meatballs, they were essentially, they mirrored it on this, and they were practicing about writing complaint letters. And what they imagined was that essentially what happened in the film had happened in rugby. So all this food was falling out of the sky, and what was I going to do about it as the mayor of Rugby? So it was quite entertaining. And again, I thought, let's come on in, have a debate. So yeah, it was very good. The children really articulated themselves well. They spoke confidently, and the letters were really well written as well. So a big shout out to them, because that was a pleasure. Somebody else I've invited in was the Rugby Police Cadets. They came in last week over 2 evenings, so Tuesday and Thursday. So on the Tuesday it was the senior cadets, and the Thursday the junior cadets. So on both evenings we debated about e-scooters and the legislation around them and whether they should be made legal or not. Very current topic. So on the Tuesday I was joined by Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner Emma Daniel and fellow councillor Derek Poole, who's obviously a former police officer and actually a former police cadet as well. Yeah. And then on the Thursday, I was joined by my mayoral cadet and Dawn Fernkettle, who's the new police chaplain. So the debates were great, with very well thought out discussions and responses. And again, it was great to empower the children and to encourage them to have their say and put their points of view across. There was also some great comments in the visitors book in the Mayor's Parlour, so if you get a chance, do have a read of those, because they're very entertaining. But I just want to say the police cadets are a real credit to the youth engagement team, and as I say, they're all characters as well. So just on to a few other engagements. So this Sunday, I had the honour of presenting a Queen's Award to 18-year-old Freya Morley for her services to the Rugby Girls Brigade. A remarkable young lady who clearly has a passion for helping others. Part of her voluntary work that she's been doing for this award included a recent 3 months in Tanzania, teaching young children, and she actually only got back last Tuesday. And I look forward to inviting Freya and her family into the parlour soon to hear more about her story. And I know she's involved in so many different things in the borough, so she's a real credit to the community. So this morning, actually, I had the pleasure of meeting our third local Olympian, Chelsea Giles, and it was great to hear all about her story so far and her aspirations for the future. She's such an inspiring young lady who has dedicated her whole life to get to where she has today in the sport of judo. I got to see her bronze medal from Tokyo, which was interesting to compare with the Paris medals as well. And we were discussing about her future plans. And ironically, I found out today as well that she's just come back from Tanzania as well. And she actually met Freya Morley while she was out there. So how small the world is that? But, yeah, so she'd been out there for 3 weeks volunteering as well. And one other thing that I would also like to mention is on my mayoral charity, so the RJ Foundation, another amazing milestone is coming up next week. You may have seen this on social media, so they'll be unveiling the 200th 24/7 accessible defib, and in Jamie Reese's name, which is just an incredible achievement and an amazing legacy. So just on that, so this will be on the 24th of October that will be unveiling the 200th defib. There's also Snap Fitness centres. They've got 57 defibs, RJ defibs. There's 22 pitch-side defibrillators at grassroots clubs in the area. There's 8 vehicle defibrillators. And just a couple of statistics. So over the last 12 months, there have been 178 deployments of the RJ defibs. Some have been needed, some haven't been used. 6 deployments in this week alone. The RJ defibs have saved 11 lives so far, which again is just incredible. Plus we're waiting to hear about another 2 from this week, which we don't know on those. And with the bleed kits have also saved a life as well. So on that note, I just think we should give the RJ Foundation another big round of applause. Thank you, and that's the end of my announcements. So on to item number 5, questions pursuant to Standing Order 10. Are there any questions, Deputy Chief Executive?
Mr Mayor, there is one question which has been circulated to all members and published on the Council's website. The question is from Councillor Daly and relates to the use of Winfield Recreation Ground for the Rugby Roundtable fireworks display on the 2nd of November.
Thank you. Councillor Daly, do you have a supplementary question?
No, I don't. I'd just like to thank the portfolio holder for her response. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so on to item number 6, 6A, to receive the report of Cabinet dated the 7th of October 2024. In submitting the report of Cabinet, if members wish to raise questions or to comment, will they please indicate they wish to do so when I call the item? Councillor Robinson, will you move the confirmation and adoption of item 1 of the report titled Local Development Scheme Update?
Yes, I so move. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Who will second the motion?
I will, Mr Mayor. Yeah. I reserve my right to speak. Sorry.
Yeah, you just got that in there. Thank you. So, Councillor Robinson, would you like to introduce the report?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So the local development scheme then has been hotly contested and much debated in this chamber in my short time as a councillor. I'm really pleased to see this come forward. Thanks must go to the Chief Officer, Nicola Smith, and also Neil Holly for putting this work together. It's a short report, but that doesn't mean that it's a short piece of work. There's a lot of back and forth to get all the ducks in a row to be able to take this forward. So it's for council to review, hopefully to approve, and for this to now go forward and form the basis of the timeline now to take our local plan forward. To note is a little bit of wiggle room still, so that the plan does see us delivering the output in time for the current government's deadline, with a little bit of wiggle room and scope, hence the recommendation for a bit of delegated authority to the Chief Officer in consultation with myself if needed. That's it, I think.
Thank you. Are there any speakers? Councillor Henderson.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I just wanted to take the opportunity to extend an enormous thank you and congratulations to Councillors Mackenzie and Robinson and the officers who organised the business breakfast last month. As both a small business owner and a councillor, it was fantastic to see what support is available to our local businesses. The diversity, energy and potential of the attendees was something Rugby should be really proud of too. Thank you.
Are there any other speakers? Councillor Poole.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, thank you, Councillor Mackenzie, for the introduction. The local development scheme is what it is. The Labour government have obviously started to implement their reforms to the planning, and dare I say more will be coming down the track in due course. The changes to the local development scheme mostly give a longer time frame for us to consider the local plan. It doesn't fundamentally shift the direction of travel at this stage, and if I'm honest, a bit more time isn't inherently a problem. We are at least 1 year behind with the local development scheme, Mr Mayor, and this is because of the shenanigans of the Labour government in 2023. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Any more speakers? Councillor Moran.
Hi, good evening. I wasn't going to speak. But I will. It's actually, I'm going to point on the record. Appreciate that Councillor Picker can't make it this evening. It's a shame. But I understand he's at a heavy metal concert instead, so that's fine. I personally think he's only done that to avoid me telling him, I told you so. Because the best things come to those that wait. So had we rushed, we wouldn't now have an economic policy to drive a local plan. I think that's a good thing. Equally, we've got an opportunity now to take part of the process of the government's changes to national policy, that whether it was Labour or the Conservatives, whoever, there were going to be some changes, they told us that. So now what comes forward over the course of the next year will be balanced locally with needs, but also in step with national policy. So, yeah, I'm very glad we had those shenanigans, because I think the residents of Rugby will benefit in the end.
Are there any more speakers? No? Okay, so Councillor Robinson, you're right to reply.
I think that Councillor Moran has replied adequately on our behalf. That's fine. Thank you.
Okay, so Councillor Robinson, will you move the confirmation and adoption of item 2 of the report titled Creation of an Economic Development Manager Post?
Yes, thank you, Mr Mayor. I so move.
Who will second the motion?
Can I second that, Mr Mayor, please? Thank you.
Councillor Robinson, would you like to introduce the report?
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm very excited to be able to bring this forward. I think I want to kind of say a thanks to the economic development team that we have in place at the moment, who have put on some fantastic events for our businesses, and I think are helping to rekindle those relationships, and that will feed into the aforementioned agenda item, our economic strategy, our local plan, etc. So this is really, really important work. Members of the Chamber will know that it is an area we haven't had an economic strategy before when we've gone into local planning, so it's really critical work that they are doing. However, and this is the however, they are working on contract, and so there's not a lot of point in putting those building blocks in if we're not going to build on top of those. So there was previously a post. We had to flip to having 2 contractor posts. This is about flipping back, having some substantive role in place and making sure that we can build on the progress that we're making. So I hope that the Chamber will all support.
Are there any speakers? No? Oh, Councillor Sanderson.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yeah, I welcome the creation of the post and the implementation of the work, because Rugby has a very diverse economy, and I think it must reflect that. I felt previously that there was a little understanding of the circular economy, and clearly that we have many centres within Rugby, be it Dunchurch, the town centre, Hillmorton. We've got to reflect all those economies, not just cut and paste to deliver something. So, yes, a viable economic strategy will be most welcome.
Are there any more speakers? No. Okay, Councillor Robinson, you're right to reply.
Thank you, and thank you, Councillor Sanderson. Yes, I mean, I think the economic development strategy will reflect a borough-wide approach, and the current work of the economic development team, as they stand at the moment, are already trying to engage in a more borough-wide approach. So, yeah, very much so. But thank you for your comments.
Okay. Councillor Robinson, will you move the confirmation and adoption of item 3 of the report titled Establishing Principles Governing the Usage of Artificial Intelligence at Rugby Brough Council?
Thank you, Mayor. I so move.
Who will second the motion?
I will, Mr Mayor, and reserve my right to speak.
Councillor Robinson, would you like to introduce the report?
Okay, thank you, Mr Mayor. Councillor Picker's ears must be burning because I'm about to mention his name again. Yeah, they must be burning because I was actually gave my apologies for Cabinet, but I was watching from afar, and I think Councillor Picker said something to the effect, this is the start of a journey, and I think that is absolutely right. You know, I'm not going to pretend that this first paper is going to solve all the questions and resolve all our questions, but I think it is really important that we do embark on this journey. As things stand at present, there is nothing to stop anybody using AI within their work. I think quickly for workers, you know, ChatGPT is going to become the new Google. So we really do need to be thinking about the risks in doing that, but also the benefits in doing that. And that for me is what this paper is about. And it's the start of a journey. So I thank the Chief Officer, Thomas, for bringing this forward. And I think we're blessed with somebody who knows a lot about this field. So I think we're in a good place as a council, and I hope that it will have chamber support. Thank you.
Are there any speakers? Oh, Councillor Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Robinson. It's just to say that there'll be good and bad aspects to AI, and when we're establishing the principles governing the usage of AI at Rugby Brough Council, some of the guiding principles that we kind of need reassurances on are efficiency, productivity. There are several systems in the council, and so we're looking to make sure that they're integrated services which are efficient and productive. And if you could just reassure us, please.
Are there any more speakers? Yeah. No? Okay, then you've got your right to reply, Councillor Robinson.
Thank you, Councillor Edwards. Yeah, I think your comment reminds us that this isn't happening in a bubble, that we have a lot of other systems that do integrate, some better than others. And so we do need to think about all those things as well, and think about those interfaces. So, yeah, please be assured that as portfolio holder and Councillor Mackenzie as well as Shadow, we are having those conversations about the different systems that we have. And thank you for your comment, because it really reminds me that I need to make sure that conversation about AI needs to be in the mix as we do that. So thank you.
I will now submit for confirmation and adoption of the whole report. In moving for confirmation and adoption of the whole report, this can take place en bloc, or upon any member request, a vote can be taken separately in respect of each report. Does any member wish for a vote to be taken in respect of each individual report? No? Okay, so I now submit for confirmation and adoption the whole of the report. All those in favour? That's carried. Okay, item 7, to receive the reports of officers. The next item is to receive the report of the Chief Officer for Legal and Governance set out at item 7A of the agenda. The report concerns appointments to outside bodies. Councillor Mistry, will you move the report?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move recommendation 1, 2, 3 and 4 as printed. Thank you.
Who will second the motion?
I will, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Just beat you to it. Yeah. Okay. Councillor Mistry, would you like to introduce the report? No, we haven't. We haven't missed anything, no, we haven't. We've just checked. So. Yeah. Okay. So, Councillor Mistry, would you like to?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, thank you. I think this would have been done and dusted in our council AGM in May, and we are just running a bit late. Microphone's playing up again. All right, thank you.
Thank you. I even checked that microphone myself earlier and it seemed fine, but yeah. It's one of those. Are there any speakers? No? Oh, sorry, Councillor Moran.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to put on record clearly a lot of councillors here from across the chamber do an awful lot of work in these outside bodies, and I think sometimes it's not always fully appreciated how much effort goes into that and the good that's done. So, because of these things get appointed, through the year or in back offices, I think it's really important to acknowledge that work and say thank you for all those who put themselves forward.
Any other speakers? No? Councillor Mistry, you're right to reply?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, so we'll put that to the vote. So those in favour, please show. The motion is carried. The next item is to receive the report of the Chief Officer for Leisure and Wellbeing set out at item 7B of the agenda. The report concerns the conferment of the Honour of Freedom of the Borough. Councillor Mistry, will you move the report?
Mr. Mayor, it's Councillor...
Actually, I'll move the report, Mr. Mayor, okay, as the portfolio holder for that area, and I'll get someone to second me.
I will second, Mr. Mayor, reserve my right to speak.
Okay, that's fine. We'll go with that. Okay. Councillor O'Rourke, would you like to move the report?
Yeah, I would. Okay. I'm absolutely delighted to move this recommendation tonight that's set out before you, which is an acceptance of the nomination, which on acceptance of the nomination will see Kimberly Wood, Lauren Henry and Chelsea Giles being awarded the very highest honour of this council that this council can give, which is the honour of the freedom of the borough. Furthermore, at the Cabinet meeting on the 16th of September, we also approved that in future, any Olympians or Paralympians athletes who achieve awards will be honoured automatically in the same way. This council wishes to recognise and celebrate the sporting achievements of local people through our Love Rugby vision, and this of course includes the extraordinary success of winning medals at the world's biggest stage. This report highlights the extraordinary success of these three local women, Kimberly, Lauren and Chelsea. It is indeed a great honour for me as a female councillor and portfolio holder to be able to put forward this proposal tonight, and with the support of this council we will see three young local women be awarded the freedom of the Borough of Rugby. It isn't something that happens very often, and over the last 20 years I think we've only seen one female in receipt of that award. So I am truly delighted and I think it's well deserved. It is the highest recognition this council can award, and I think we'd all agree that this borough is truly blessed to have three such remarkable young women residing in its borough. The report sets out their achievements, and I'm sure we would all agree that they have set the highest of standards for the future. It's great to see already that our three Olympians are showing their leadership qualities by visiting so many local schools and acting as local ambassadors by promoting sport and the importance of it and activity. So I'm sure you all agree it's a great thing that we're doing tonight. It's nice to have something really positive to talk about, and yeah, well done. Thank you.
Are there any speakers? Councillor Roodhouse.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I echo the comments that Councillor O'Rourke has spoken about. I think what we have is three extraordinary women that have come through and fought all the way through athletics and the particular sports or wherever they've come from. But I think we mustn't also forget all those years and all the other sports people that are out there who are trying. And I think the example that we can give in this position that we're doing now actually is a leading way to bring that forward and hopefully give inspiration to loads of other younger people that are going through particular sports or athletics or their chosen elements to it. So it's only right and fair that we actually bring this forward at this point in time. And perhaps we ought to spend some time also, we're giving the freemanship to these individuals, but perhaps we also ought to think about what is the sports development that we're offering as a borough council, to actually build upon that. And perhaps those people who become the freemen of the borough could help this council actually develop some of those options around that. So I think if we could take that on board and have that discussion with them about what is it as a borough council we could develop in the future around the sports offer that we have to younger people around there, so we can develop even more Olympians and end up with an Olympian village in Rugby.
Wouldn't that be great? Yeah. Councillor Poole.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I echo what Councillor Mrs O'Rourke has already said, and Councillor Roadhouse. And I'm going to say from this side of the chamber, congratulations to those three young ladies for what they've achieved in their short life in athletics, and may it progress, and their activities spread wider in the borough. And I echo everything that Councillor Roadhouse has said about spreading the word and getting involved in the younger youth of rugby. Mr Mayor, thank you.
I believe Councillor Henderson.
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and just to acknowledge I was a bit of a keen bean when I spoke earlier. To echo what my colleagues have said already, I think this motion really recognises three incredibly inspirational young women who are highlighting what brilliant role models we have in the borough for all of our young people. And in doing so, by giving them this honour, we're also bringing greater diversity to the group of people that hold the honour, and I look forward to seeing that continue in the future.
Are there any more speakers? Councillor Moran.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I just wanted to, God, it's difficult to follow all that. I think the key point is about tangibility and about, it's not just a certificate to go on a wall, it's what it can actually represent. And so hopefully then over the coming months, we put some flesh on the bones about plans to embrace sport, to encourage activity in the borough, and can actually make something of it going forward. Because I think that's how, as a borough, we all want to be proud. We need to be proud of where we come from. Looking to our peers, to our neighbours, to examples of sporting excellence is one idea. I know we've spoken at length in this borough that we've got some great sporting assets. We can do more of that, both physical assets and individuals. So part of a journey to make everyone proud to be from Rugby.
Thank you. Are there any more speakers? Okay. I'm just going to obviously add as well that obviously I've been championing our Olympians as well, and I think they're fantastic, all three of them. So I'm pleased to see this coming forward. So Councillor O'Rourke, your right to reply.
Yes, thank you, and thank you all very much for us to be in harmony and supporting this recommendation tonight. I will absolutely, and I'm already with you both, Councillor Paul and Roodhouse, in terms of how we actually sort of build on the fantastic legacy that these three amazing young women have, you know, set out for us, and we will be engaging other people to talk about that along with the three Olympians. Thank you.
Okay, we should now put it to the vote. All those in favour, please show. That's unanimous. Yeah, the motion is carried. So item number 8, notices of motion pursuant to Standing Order 11. In accordance with the Council's constitution, there are no motions on notice to consider at this meeting. Item number 9, motion to exclude the public under section 100A part 4 of the Local Government Act 1972. Under section 100A part 4 of the Local Government Act 1972, the public be excluded from the meeting for the following items on the grounds that they involve the likely disclosure of information defined in paragraphs 2 and 3 of Schedule 12A of the Act. I so move. Who will second the motion?
I will, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Those in favour, please show. The motion is carried. That concludes the public